A very good morning, Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this morning, we need to look at something which is very, very important. We have seen that on social media, there is a certificate, which is a special grant certificate, which is circulating, which belongs to one of President Emerson Mnangagwa's sons or relatives. And this is a certificate which belongs to Mnangagwa Patson Tapiwa Nashe. So I'm not saying that it's bad for him to have it. If he does have it legally, then there is no problem. But there is everything wrong with the way things are being done right here in the nation of Zimbabwe. And I'm going to explain. First and foremost, the minerals of Zimbabwe are in the hands of a few elites. Yes. When minerals go into the hands of a few, it becomes a problem. Go to the people who are controlling our gold. It's a mafia. These are ZANU-PF connected leaders who are controlling the biggest chunk of our gold mines. I'm not saying that they were not supposed to be doing it if they are doing it legally, but I am saying they are the ruling party. They must understand that the economy must grow from the minerals, from the resources, which means that the country must benefit the most from its own resources and minerals. The government has failed to spearhead for government-owned mines to be opened more frequently because they want to cover that part. And the biggest problem with that is that money will be going into the hands of private people. It means Zimbabwe will, on paper, Zimbabwe will say, we have mined 30 tons of gold. But who is the beneficiary of that 30 tons? Zimbabwe will benefit at most 20% from 30 tons. So let's say Zimbabwe has raised $1 billion from gold sales, and only 20% benefits the government. What it means is Zimbabwe is going to get 200 million. And 800 million will go into the pockets of individuals. And when we are talking about individuals, even the country itself, in terms of salaries and everything else, even if we factor that, you'd see that more than 750 million will go into the pockets of individuals. And they will use this money to buy private jets. They will use this money to buy mansions outside Zimbabwe. They will use this money to open banks outside Zimbabwe. They will use this money to buy posh cars and to sponsor their girlfriends and to sponsor their lavish lives. Yes. At whose expense? At the expense of the people of Zimbabwe. Imagine if the reverse was true. Imagine if we could have taken 750 million into the government and 250 million they benefit. Imagine if that was the issue. Would you think Zimbabwe would be where it is? No. Zimbabwe would be better. But the problem is 75% to 80%, if not even more, is going into the pockets of individuals. All these grants as Roma grants, they have so many grants. Go to the Ministry of Mines and you understand what you're talking about. If we are to do an audit in the Ministry of Mines, you will see the biggest miners we have in Zimbabwe are ZANU-PF people who are making loads and loads of cash, but the country is benefiting nothing. Then you find the Chinese, you find the Russians. What about Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe is benefiting nothing. Because the royalty laws, you hear them talking about 2% to 5% in terms of royalty, and where they want, they will put VAT. And Pavaisa VAT, Pache Papapo, it will be 15%. So if you put 15% plus 5%, that is 20%, which is going to go to the government. And the rest goes out. Why can't we say gold, diamonds, all these minerals, they belong to Zimbabwe in the first place? Since they belong to Zimbabwe, when you want to mine these minerals, the country must benefit more than you in terms of profit. So you have removed all the costs of production. You take 20% and the country takes 80%. Still 20% iwewe in terms of profit imari yakakwana, imari yakawandisa. And also there is no accountability, there is no verification whatsoever kuti how many kgs are being mined because of corruption. Because isisu tiri kuti ngati pa company pa mine pane masefa aripo, pane makey maybe 3, one belonging to the police, one to RBZ, one to the mine. So you can not open the safe on your own. But because of corruption, it means and the one from the police and the one from the Ministry of Mines and the one from Fidelity, they will come in, you open the safes, moba gold, mobva varama safe you are. Which means there is no accountability systems whatsoever to prove kuti gold rakama inwa parakawanda safe. There is also no accountability kuva nevamwe vari kumaina other minerals but vari benefit gold. No systems in place to deal with those issues. So we are raising these issues because zviri kuvhiringidza Zimbabwe as a nation, because we are benefiting less. Zimbabwe is benefiting 20% or less from its minerals. Yet the people are more than these few individuals who are into mining and everything else. So when are we going to acknowledge that we don't need to tax our people? We need to make sure that we benefit from the resources which we have. Those are nyika dzakaita sana Saudi Arabia dzichibudirira because the country or the government is benefiting more, which makes it have more to share with the people, more to distribute. As long as the government has more to distribute, there is no problem. The country will move forward. But this situation in Zimbabwe, ticharamba tichisogora kusvika